And we're back, and I guess we'll call this the main event edition because we're
Finally.
finally talking about Pokemon X and Y. Oh my goodness!
It just took us 2.5 hours.
So anyway, I guess we'll just get into. Obviously, this is going to be the shortest version because as of right now, the game hasn't come out yet, and we honestly don't know everything that there is to know about it yet. So there's
Which
not really all that much to
they're
talk about.
keeping a lot of it under wraps, considering that we are about what 2 months from launch.
Honestly, that's a good thing.
I mean,
Let
I'm
a
not
lot of
I'm
it be
not
a
complaining.
surprise.
I'm not
I,
complaining, but
I'm fine with it keeping under wraps.
Let a lot of it be a surprise, one way or the other. You know. Anyway, what we do know, Gen 6
changes
is the
everything
first.
again.
Yeah, it's another generation that changes everything. We have another new type, the Fairy type. What do we know about it? It's strong against dragons.
Ugh.
What do we not know about it? Its weaknesses.
I
What do
think
we
God, I
also?
wish I had those rumor sheets where remember the current leaks from someone who claims to work for Game Freak,
Yeah,
who says that steel, poison, and something else are strong against it.
yeah.
I need to go
Which I
find
hope is
those.
true. Which
Um,
I hope is true.
yeah, honestly, I'm gonna take the chat off for a little bit out of the video and probably go look those up real fast.
But anyway,
Oops.
really, the fairy type thing is kind of a mixed bag for me. I have to actually see it in action before I really make a statement one way or the other. I mean, I'm kind of sounding like an old man here, but change. Ugh.
I'll admit I'm not too keen on um, the whole fairy type myself.
I mean, I'm sure I'll get used to it and everything, but there's just so many implications if they don't give it the right weaknesses or strengths. You know what I mean? If they make it strong against dark types, which is something I did here, that's going to fuck things up because now Spiritomb and Sableye have a weakness. Also, the fact that it is strong against dragons now makes Kingdra weak to something
There's a lot
other than
of
dragon.
actual
Like, this changes everything and
yeah,
fucks shit up.
and which it happens every time they introduce a new type. But wasn't Gen 2 the last time we got a new type?
Yeah, and the only reason they introduced those types was to balance out Psychic.
Yeah.
There's really no reason why Fairy type exists. There's nothing that really needed to be balanced out at that point.
People claim Dragon, but Dragon, you can easily work around Dragon. You
With
honestly
You
can.
could
ice.
Ice and
you
other
could kill.
dragons.
Yeah, it's not like Gen 1 where there weren't any effective dragon moves. Gen 4 introduced a fuck ton of great dragon moves. It's
I
just.
don't like the idea. Now, see, maybe I could be a bit more okay with it if it was more of a light type, which is rumored first, honestly. They were
I
saying
think
it was
that's
going to be
basically
called
what it.
light, but
Yeah, that's basically what it is. They're just calling it Fairy because who the fuck
because
knows?
because Japan.
But, also, of course, they with the Fairy type, they are changing some Pokemon over to the Fairy type that were previously something else. Um, Jigglypuff, which makes sense. Mawile, okay.
Which is now going to be a fucking monster. Mawile
Um,
is going to fuck shit up.
Meryl, why? Why? Why Meryl? That makes no sense to me. Gardevoir,
Kind of
kind of
see that. I
makes
can kind of see
sense.
that one.
Kind of makes sense, but at the same time, don't think it really needed to be changed. And then we get to the weird thing. Where the fuck is Clefairy?
Yep.
With the name Fairy in the name.
Where the fuck is Clefairy? I'm sure they're going to eventually name it as a fairy type, but if they don't, this will be one of the biggest blunders in all of Pokemon.
Okay, I remember. I found a sheet that has a lot of the rumor stuff all put together.
Alright, now put the chat back up.
Well, I have to be able to read it.
Oh, god damn you.
Well, they're saying Fairy is super effective against the following: Dragon, Dark, and Fighting.
Jesus Christ. Why the fuck does Dark need another weakness?
Fairy is weak to steel, ice, and poison.
Ice is already strong against 5 other goddamn things. I think
Um,
so.
it
Isn't it?
is rumored that Sableye, Farfetch, Dunsparce, and Quillfish will get Mega Forms, which we'll get to in a bit. Miltank, Tauros, Throsock, and Audino will get Pre-Evs. The Elite Four are based off the shit from old kings and queens and shit. Elizabeth, Charles, Isabella, and someone else, and then the champion is rumored to be the professor,
Ooh.
which would be interesting. Your gym types are bug, fairy, electric, rock, flying, grass, fire, dark.
I think that would be the first time we actually got a Dark Gem.
One of the new legendaries based on a snake will be a poison rock type.
That is an odd combination.
We're,
I'm curious, but that is odd.
we're getting
I'd
a
like to see
fairy
what I want to
trio.
see what it looks like.
A fairy trio?
Fairy trio based off nature spirits, so there'll be water fairy, ground fairy, fire fairy.
That's silly.
Um, let's see here. Let me respond to this real fast. Uh, okay, here we go. The final type for the grass will be grass and dark. Water will be water and fighting, and fire will be fire psychic.
I thought there was water and dark and
Nope.
grass and fighting.
It's changed.
It's now changed. Huh.
The Pokemon League will be a castle again, more castle probably based than before. And the evil team is confirmed to be Team Flare, who are straight up admitting that they're doing this to make money.
So basically, it's Team Rocket again,
Basically, yes.
which is totally a step backwards in my opinion.
Yep.
Definitely a step in the wrong direction. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Team Rocket because they were the originals, but I really liked what they were doing with Team Plasma, really more story-driven bad guys who were legit evil and scary, and, I mean,
Not saying we
scary for
can't get
Pokemon
something
terms.
like that though. We don't really know
Scary.
because that's still
When I say scary, I mean scary by Pokemon standards, not legit scary.
right.
But honestly, at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, they had something going, and I don't know, they kind of fucked that up. And speaking of things that are fucked up, I guess we'll now talk about the Mega types or the Mega evolutions, because I have a lot to say about these, and quite frankly, they piss me off. At first, they were sounding pretty cool, but then they introduced Mega Kangaskhan, and that totally changed my opinion on them.
Yes, I agree. Though I still think Mega Blaziken's gonna kick so much ass.
You know, it's one thing when you have like a Mega Mewtwo, a Pokemon that's rare. And don't get me wrong, Kangaskhan is rare, but Kangaskhan is not a legendary. You can find multiple Kangaskhan.
Right.
You know, it might take you a long while to catch them, but you can still find them. It's also another thing when it's something that you can only get through a special deal, like the Blaziken.
Which will be handed. Which another thing I don't really agree with that they're doing. I like the fact they're giving us the opportunity to get a Mega Blaziken because on launch and for the first month or so they'll be distributing a Torchic that has a Mega Stone, a Blazikenite. However, why pick the Fire starter if you can get a fucking Torchic from the get go?
Indeed, I suppose if you don't like Torchic or you don't like firefighting,
Or
you
like
know,
if you're like you and you want to use just
Gen
Gen
6 specific.
Pokemon. But if you're like me, who you're open to whatever, I'm gonna fucking get Torchic. I'm gonna get it. It's
Yeah.
gonna be in my party. Like, there's no questions asked there.
I guess we'll talk about the kangaroo in the room here, though. Mega Kangaskhan. Okay, the good. They're finally making the baby in the pouch have a purpose. The bad.
Is his actual purpose.
Its actual purpose. Parental bond. What the fuck were they thinking? This thing has the potential to be the single most fucking bullshit thing in all of Pokemon. If you don't know, if you haven't heard about this, Parental Bond is basically an ability that will allow all attacks to hit twice. In fact, in the video where they show Mega Kangaskhan, it did Mega Punch, and it hit twice. Now, Mega Punch is a 95 power move that Kangaskhan would get stabbed from, and that hit twice.
Not to mention, Kangaskhan can learn Earthquake.
And Hyper Beam.
And a lot of very powerful moves.
Indeed. So, to me, it's just absolutely baffling that they would do this. I mean, there's no reason other than the game was too balanced before, let's fucking break it, that they would even think to do that.
Now, we don't have all the details on it, though. We don't know if it's both 100% damage from both hits. That would break
No.
everything.
If you get the same amount of damage on both hits, to me, I don't know if, like, I wouldn't call that a deal breaker for me, but I definitely wouldn't look at the series the same way ever again.
Not without something to balance it out, at least.
No. I mean, if it... To me, I think the only way to make it fair would be if the second hit did did 25% damage.
And I would say 50% at most. At most.
Only 50% if the initial move is also taken down to 50%.
Yeah. Which then
But
again
if not,
which would make that ability pointless. So that's not going to be the case.
then it needs to be quarter. Nothing more. Because then it's too powerful. It's still too powerful as it is. But it would just be absurd.
Now, and let's not even talk about Mega Mawile. Now, that's not as broken as Mega Kangaskhan, but Mawile's going to fuck shit up so fucking hard. Like, we should be ready to face Mawiles. If I don't really play online Pokemon, I don't. But people who do better be fucking ready, because those
And I'll tell you
things
what,
are
Mega
gonna wreck
Mawile,
shit.
guess what? Mega Mawile, as horrible as it sounds, still nowhere near as threatening as Mega Kangaskhan, because a Mega Kangaskhan can learn Earthquake. Oh, it hurts Earthquake twice, Mawile's dead.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, for people who don't have Kangaskhan's, Mega Mawile, while not broken, is going to be a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
Um, I would say the worst, I think, Mega Evolution so far when it comes to choice will be Mega Ampharos, because despite the fact they're making it better by having it part Dragon type. If it okay, first off, Mega Evolutions are confirmed to only be in battle. What's the fucking point of making it part Dragon if it's only in battle? Which means how the fuck can it learn Dragon moves? They would have to
Yeah,
change its move pool significantly for it to even matter a little bit.
indeed. And honestly, there's also just the issue of if it's only in battle, does it happen every time you get into battle? If it does, do you have to keep seeing the cutscene every time? If you do, that slows down the battle significantly, which makes it seem like you are wasting your time. And that is one thing in Pokemon, which is a game that can be slow on its own naturally, is something you don't want to do.
Right.
It, it's just, it just everything about Mega Evolutions. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope Mega Evolutions turn out to be one of the best things that ever happened to Pokemon. But so far, it's sounding like it's going to be one of the worst for many reasons.
And I was really hyped for him until Mega Kangaskhan.
Yeah.
Harry, what do you have to say about Mega Evolutions?
They
Well,
suck.
I'll say this: I'm nowhere near as worried as both of you sound about it. I mean, when I first heard about Mega Evolutions, I immediately wanted like going way back to when Pokemon X and Y were originally announced, and I noticed that and I noticed that well, what we now know is Mega Mewtwo. When I first saw it, I was just like, when it's you remember that teaser trailer that said a new Pokemon with a familiar look? Do you guys remember that at all?
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
Mewtwo form reveal, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. And I was just thinking to myself, wait a second. I had a suspicion that was Mew. I had two things in my head that was originally going through. It was like either this is an evolution of Mewtwo, or this is Mew 3. There was the only way those were the only things in my mind that was what it could be. And I was fine with either one of those if it were the case. But I did not suspect it was going to be like this. But when they revealed it was going to be when it was going to be Mega Mewtwo and Mega Evolutions in general, I was really excited because they took my all-time favorite Pokemon Mewtwo and made him even more awesome. I don't know, like I guess on a functional level, I can understand the concern, and it is a valid concern. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think I'm as worried about it because they've probably I would like to think, or at least give Game Freak the benefit of the doubt, that they've been thinking about doing this for a while, and they wouldn't throw this mechanic in without being very cautious because they haven't stated whether or not every single Pokemon that has a Mega Evolution, because I would imagine like it's a very few percentage.
The
Not only
rumor is
that,
15.
the confirmed number is 15.
The rumored number is around 15.
So if like, and I've heard people, I've had a couple people ask me is like, what do like how like what restrictions are they going to have on Mega Evolutions? And I was trying to think of this on like a tournament level, and I would say at the in my if I had to take a shot in the dark and say if like say with the Worlds tournament that just recently ended, um, if they were going to introduce Mega Pokemon, if they were not banned from tournaments or not restricted from tournaments, I would say at minimum or no, at maximum they were allowed to have only one per team. Would that make sense?
And straight out get rid of Mega Kangaskhan.
I mean, that's just my theory, or at least my suspicion, is what a restriction of one per team. Like if you had a Pokemon that could Mega Evolve, you could only have one on your team.
I
So,
would definitely agree with that, but legitimate, we need to find out what exactly Mega Kangaskhan's is, because if it is what double launch percent damage, then that just needs to be obliterated from tournaments completely.
well, I would imagine if it's like a Mega Kangaskhan. I for one thing, okay, here's one thing I do like about Mega Evolutions overall: the fact that all of the ones that they've shown so far, they're giving older Pokemon a lot more relevance now and giving them a reason to be around still. I like the fact that they're giving more attention to them.
Right.
And a lot of these are and a lot of them that they've shown are actually some personal favorites of mine, just on a design level. I mean, from previous generations, like Absol. I really love his design. Lucario looks great. Blaziken looks freaking awesome. Mewtwo, well, no need to say anything more on him. Ampharos, one of my all-time favorites, and I mean, I like the fact that he has long white locks, but yes, I do admit the dragon is a little bit strange, and how they're going to change and what they're going to do with this move pool set and how that's going to work out, I have no idea. Um, what's the other one? Mega Mawile. I've never like Mega Mawile for some or Mawile just for a longest time. I could never figure out what its type was. I don't know why. I guess I was just stupid back then, and I just couldn't figure out it was a steel type. So at least I'm not. At least I'm a
Now
little
it's
bit.
Steel Fairy.
Yeah, I know that's even more crazy. But I don't know. I guess I'm just not as I guess I'm just not as worried overall. I guess I'm more excited for Mega Evolutions because I've always kind of wondered myself, why is it that a Pokemon couldn't evolve beyond a stage 3? Why is it they couldn't do it before? And now they have a way to do it. And I like the fact that it's not I find it interesting that it's not a permanent evolution. The fact that it's one of those things like it's one of those like a really desperate situation. Like you know how sometimes like I know this is not exactly the best comparison, but the only one I can think of is a Darmanitan. How it when it reaches a certain point, it will turn into a fire like that little stone form of itself, sort of like a
Let's
little
be honest
doll.
though, when we first heard the term megaform,
Digimon.
Digimon, digital monsters. I mean, come on.
I
I
I don't
I
mind that at
I
all.
did. I thought Digimon immediately.
I didn't mind that at all. I didn't. I mean, I thought it, of course, but I didn't mind it. I was like, I
I
get the
wouldn't say it's a
compare.
bad thing.
Oh no, no, I'm
But
just saying, like, I just don't mind it. I just like when everyone was like, "Well, it's Pokemon, it's totally ripping off Digimon." It's like, well, the two of them are similar in the fact that it's creatures battling each other and they change forms, but they kind of work on different levels if you really think about it.
well, the Mega Evolution is really the first thing that is really the first time that it's going the similar route of Digimon with the whole temporary evolution thing.
That is true. That
Also,
I will completely agree
Going
with
back,
that.
going back to um, your guys' point though about Ampharos, if it's anything like Black or White Kyurem in Gen 5, it'll probably have a fixed move set in that form
see, that's one thing I'm hearing too. But
that
I
it'll
can see
probably
that being
have.
bad for some Pokemon because what like Lucarios and Blazikins, they have movesets that are really good for that Pokemon, but then if in Mega form they change them up on you,
Yeah,
it could that could be a way to balance them out, is that you don't get the broken moves you want.
yeah,
Yeah, and then do they change like they wouldn't change move sets like this the moment they go Mega Evolution.
yeah. I don't know.
I'm
It it's still one of those things where we have to know all the details before we can really make a final judgment. But right now, it's really sounding kinda shitty.
It's
Don't
still
get me
it's a cool
wrong.
concept, but
Don't get me
we
wrong.
need the rest of our details before I can make a final judgment on it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm still looking forward to Gen 6. Um, we haven't even talked about any of the Pokemon that were revealed yet. And I don't know if we're really going to talk about that much now, but some of them are looking interesting, and I'm
There's a
looking
fucking
forward to some of
sword.
them. Not to mention, they finally made a mix of an electric fire type.
That they did.
Bring out the crazy combinations. You know,
Wait, which
I'm
one's the
ready.
Electric and Fire?
It's a rat. It basically looks like a Pikachu.
It's this gen's
Oh, you mean the
Pikachu
one that
style
looks like
Pokemon.
Hamtaro and Raichu's love child?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know which. Yeah, that one. Okay. Um,
Uh,
I'm okay with the designs they have for now. I mean, I'm not super crazy about all of them. I mean, it's just
let's be honest though. Pangoro looks fucking awesome.
wait, what? Which one?
Pangoro.
Uh,
Which one's
you
It's a
talk
that?
about?
fucking. It's a dark fighting type, and it's a fucking panda.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that looks so cool.
I like the
Um,
oh, one of the big things. You can ride a fucking Pokemon.
Pokemon mounts.
That's a thing.
but
There's a
anyway,
lot of details from Gen 6, honestly. Uh, and I
but
can tell you're
honest,
tired and want to end this, but there is a lot actually that we could cover.
yeah. But I'm also thinking about the fact that we've been talking now for the past like 3 hours.
Oh
Yeah,
well,
that's
I mean, probably the next time we'll do one on a Pokemon will probably be when the games have come out and we've all beaten them.
Yeah, honestly,
Are you guys gonna get both, or are you gonna get stick with one?
I'm
For
sticking with
for
one.
money purposes, I'm probably just gonna get Y.
That's the one I'm thinking of getting. Honestly,
I'll get both just to see if there's any small differences.
well, other than the obvious ones.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to see what else and like just the version exclusives to one because there's always those cases.
Yep.
But I mean, like I know I completely understand your guys' concern with Mega Evolutions, and it's perfectly valid. I'm just a little bit more relaxed about it and saying, you know what, let's give Game Freak the benefit of the doubt. They've had a long time with this franchise, and they've managed to get themselves out of a couple of bouncing problems before. I'm pretty sure they can work out of this one.
But it might not be till next gen. That's the problem.
Probably not. It's just like, but I again, maybe I'm just a little bit more. Maybe I just like to give the benefit of the doubt more.
On the bright side, though, we are due Gen 3 remakes, and which probably means they're going to be on the Gen 6 engine, which I am perfectly fine with.
So that let's see, Gen 3 remakes. So remakes of Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald.
Yeah, well, probably Ruby and Sapphire, but they'll probably have all the
Probably,
Emerald stuff in it.
probably that would be all. I would be perfectly fine with that.
Well, it's getting about that time where we get remakes now. It'll be weird if they, when they remake Gen 4 in the future, because like, wow,
Well, the only reason why they remade Gen 1 and Gen 2 in the first place was because um, it was impossible to trade your Gen 2 and Gen 1 Pokemon into Gen 3. So
Yeah,
they had an actual purpose for remaking Gen 1 and Gen 2. Gen 3, you can trade those Pokemon into Gen 4.
yeah,
In
I could never
fact,
figure out how to do those right.
we never actually mentioned this, but in Gen 4 they did have that one unique mechanic where if you had a Gen 3 game plugged into your GBA port of the DS, while you're playing one of those games, you actually can manipulate some of the wild encounters.
yes, you can. And considering that Nintendo took that GBA slot out of DSs, which I think was a very poor decision, um, honestly. Once they did that, by the time Gen 5 rolled around, by the time Heart Gold and Soul Silver rolled around, that was no longer a thing,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
But anyway, I don't really have anything else to say about Gen 6 at the moment. I don't know if you guys do.
I could think of a couple things maybe I would want from Pokemon in the future, and just say those real quick. The one we talked about earlier, more exploring the regions, and number two, eventually they're gonna have to bite the bullet and bring us to home console, and they're give us a full exploratory 3D world. I think needs to happen. There is a fan game called Pokemon Generations that's kind of working on that. It's an MMO style game. It's got an interesting thing to it, but it's very, very early alpha stage in the fact that it doesn't work that well yet. But I think Nintendo and Game Freak should take notice because eventually, while Pokemon will always, to me, be a staple for a handheld, most of the console games have been pretty good too. Pokemon Snap, fucking love that. Where the fuck is our sequel to that? The Wii U gamepad is literally made for Pokemon Snap. That needs to be a thing. I love Stadium. Stadium 1 and 2. Loved them. Battle Revolution? Not so much.
Well,
Uh,
Stadium 1 and 2, if they're going to make another game like that, they really need to go the Coliseum XD formula and not the Stadium formula because, as we saw with Battle Revolution, it really doesn't work now in the modern day.
yeah. I'm saying like those
You
are
know?
games I enjoyed that weren't mobile games, the handhelds.
Hmm.
And then finally Pokemon Puzzle League, but that's because I'm a sucker for those style of games like that and Super Puzzle Fighter. So I whoop ass in, but
Bullshit lot.
fuck you, just suck. But so I can see a lot of potential in Pokemon and on the 3DS as well as maybe one day on home console. But it's all really dependent on what Game Freak and Nintendo want to do with it. But
Hmm.
I am excited for Gen 6, and I look forward. I've already pre-ordered my copy. I haven't paid it off yet, but I pre-ordered it. But
And, Harry, what about you?
I in terms of things I want to see, I would just be curious to see what other Mega Evolutions there are going to be. I'm very curious to see what other ones because all the ones they've shown so far have been from Gen 4 backwards, and so maybe just more Gen 4, more Mega Evolutions, more details on that one. That would be nice just to clear the air on that. Um, I can't really think of any major features I would like to see, or because I'm one of those people that sort of just lets my. I like to go into things more of a blank slate if I can, just to
Yeah.
just because I've been trying to do this with a lot of games where it's like I hear about the announcement of the game. I don't want to hear anything more beyond the initial concept. I want to know as little as possible. That way, I can go in as blank as possible and go and just see what's in it by itself. Like I'll be like reading less reviews and stuff like that, and just go in and see what it is. Um, in terms of like, if I had to think of a feature that I would like to see, um, maybe just in terms of just the fact that I don't want to carry around one Pokemon that's just an HM slave. I would like to see if they could at least make HMs be taken out and replaced with something else. That way, you only need it for a certain time.
Oh, I forgot one thing. I would like to see not anytime in the future, near future. I think it's time to move past a 6 Pokemon team. I think it's time to move on to like 8, or ideally would be 10. But
Well, if that's the,
that
well, if you're
that's
gonna say
a
that,
fantasy
if
of
we're gonna,
mine.
What?
yeah, we're not gonna go any further than that. But anyway, but if you're gonna go with that route, then you may as well say, well, then they have to know more than 4 moves.
I'd be okay with that too.
Like maybe a fifth or a sixth move.
Yeah, like nothing beyond 6 for sure. Nothing beyond 10 Pokemon in the party. But sometimes I can easily plan teams that could be balanced and revolve around 10 Pokemon.
Yeah, pretty much anyone could at that point. It's just
There's just
like
so many. Like, why? There are over like 600 Pokemon, and we're still limited to 6 in a team.
that's
It's
not even
Yeah.
like that's not even 2% of all of them.
exactly, and I think that's why there's gonna come a point where there's so many to where even some of the hardcore competitive people are gonna want bigger teams because there's gonna be so much. There's already so much to choose from.
Okay. Speaking of parties, I guess I'll just kind of throw this out there real quick. From Did You Know Gaming, while developing Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, Game Freak considered changing the number of Pokemon the player could have in their party
Damn
and the
it!
number of moves a Pokemon could learn.
What the
The idea
fuck?
was later scrapped. The idea was later scrapped. It's currently unknown what sort of potential changes were to be made.
Oh, fuck.
Well, who knows? Maybe with X and Y we'll have something like that.
Well, what's funny is I'm looking at a picture here of what's either Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, and it's showing 7 Pokemon in a party.
Let's see
Ooh.
that. So they're wanting to do it too, but someone keeps shutting it down.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not as far as we think it is, or as I think it is anyway.
Maybe not. It's just
As long as they don't get crazy with it, I'm okay with it because honestly, I'm okay with the 6-4 system because I think it's balanced enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
I just think
I mean,
there's
we've
just
had it
so
all
much
this
to
time,
choose
so
from
And
that
I just
there's
think
gonna
that
come a
it,
point where we need it.
and I also just think that I guess it just adds to strategy and all that shit. But because you can't just throw whatever the fuck moves you want, you got to pick. You know. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for the Gen 6 discussion and the Pokemon discussion in general for now. Um, I'm just going to kind of throw some final thoughts, and I guess you guys can just tell me whether or not you agree or disagree, and we'll end it there. To me, Pokemon is an RPG that, in my opinion, is probably, despite the simple looking nature of it, probably one of the most in depth and replayable RPGs to ever come out of gaming in general. It's literally the only RPG that I can think of that every single game can be completely different based on simple decisions that you make, such as move pools, party members, etc. You know, it's infinitely replayable because of that. And no Pokemon ever has the same stats.
This is
You
true.
can catch two tentacles. You're gonna have different stats on each one. You can catch two Butterfrees or Caterpies or whatever. They're gonna have different stats. You can catch poke. You can do runs based entirely on doing solo type runs. You can do Nuzlocke runs. You can do all kinds of whatever you want to manipulate the game yourself to give yourself a bigger challenge. You can do all these things. You can do whatever you want. Quite frankly, I honestly think that Pokemon is ingenious, and it's a license to print money, not just because of the actual like cartoonish value of that and oh kids like it, but From a gamer's perspective, Pokemon is a deep game that doesn't get enough credit as a deep game, and the series is just a lot of fun. And I think that's the biggest thing. The series still remains fun, even after all this time. I mean, would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
I can't. I couldn't have phrased it better.
So, that's all I really have to say. I want to thank both RMGMD Punk, or of course, as you guys know, Matt. And of course, I want to thank newcomer Perry, which you can repeat your whole name to everybody here because I already forgot it.
It's Perry the One-Armed Legend.
His
There
actual
you go.
his actual YouTube name is like Carbon Fist 17 or something, but
I changed it a while back to Perry the One-Armed Legend just because it was. I didn't
oh,
use that.
you actually changed it.
Well, I changed it. I changed it to the title of my channel because I didn't use that name at all. Whenever I was going with the name of the show or just whatever, I just didn't bother keeping it. So I was just like, I'll just drop it and just keep it as that one title.
Right.
Well, we're probably gonna put a link to the channel in the description of all of these, so or an
All right then.
annotation of some kind. I don't know. We'll do something. But
Okay.
the
Oh,
fact
basically,
is,
I'll do something because I'm about to upload
yeah.
all these straight to
But
YouTube.
anyway,
Well, are we gonna make this a thing? That's the big question. Like, not just Pokemon discussion. I meant just,
yeah, we could do that, and hell, we can invite all kinds of different people.
yep.
I wouldn't mind.
Um, yeah, it's just a matter of when we have time to do it.
Which I would
Um,
say, usually probably would depend more on my personal work schedule because I'm the one who records it unless you get someone else to do it.
yeah, and my schedule isn't exactly always the best either. I mean, I've happened to had kind of a break lately because um, people haven't been around, but that's going to be changing soon. So I'm only going to be able to do shit like this in very specific time frames.
So I'd
So,
probably go from a night show into an early afternoon show.
well, we can upload this whenever the hell we want, but
No, I
yeah,
meant
pretty
like when
much.
we do it live.
Yeah, it would probably end up being like an afternoon show.
But
Hmm.
alright, I think that's it from my end here.
Yeah, that's pretty much it from me. So, I'm Iron Fury, RNGMD Punk, Perry the One Fist Legend. Did I get it
One
right?
Legend.
Legend of the One Fist?
God damn it. If you can't even get Jalen's name right, now you can't even get Perry's name right.
No, I keep calling him the Django.
The D is silent.
But
But,
yeah, fun stuff.
I'm terrible with names. I
He
apologize.
does it on
It's fine.
purpose.
It's
I'm serious.
fine.
I'm not doing it on
He
purpose. I honestly and legitimately forgot.
It's
I'm
fine.
terrible
It's no
with
big deal.
names.
Most on my channel, whenever they leave comments, just call me Perry. It's no big deal.
Well, I did that earlier, and I got scolded for it.
I know.
Why were you so mean to me?
Yeah, yeah. I can be a real ass at times. I know.
Anyway, that's Perry. I'm Iron Fury. Also, you can just call me Dave. What the fuck?
I think he's also tired. I can hear it in his voice.
And Matt. Fuck you, Matt. Just
Fuck.
because.
Hey, fuck you, bitch.
Anyway, guys. That's it for us. Good night. Thanks for coming, and I'm sure Matt's gonna do some other shit after this anyway, so you can stick around for that. But
I'll head out because I'm starved.
yeah, I'm gonna go play Ducktales.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna play DuckTales.
I'm probably gonna go eat because I'm hungry.
I might eat too.
Anyway,
I don't know.
cut.